Welcome to Uplifting Humans, where we honor, empower, educate, and inspire the listener with real stories and expert advice. Our guest today is a dear friend, Verena Koerber, an indigo child born in Austria. Verena taught mathematics in school as she helped build her husband's business and then her own. While studying kinesiology and raising her three beautiful young children, she focused on self-development training so that she could bring her gifts to the surface and share with others in need. She currently trains clients in NLP, Suggestopedia, and she teaches healers and heals healers, teaches teachers so that they can be of greater service to humanity. Welcome, Verena.
Hey, welcome.
So nice to have you, and it's been way too long. I wanted to actually have you on the show a good month or two ago, but as you know, me working with you is even more fabulous. But on that note, Verena, you were born as a very gifted individual. If you can just start with your journey from a young child, please.
Yes, as you already said, I grew up in a beautiful country in the middle of Europe, so all what I needed was prepared for me, and my parents didn't wait for me, so I was a surprise for them. I was truly the third child of a family, and I was not aware of my gift. As you said, I'm very gifted, but I had to grow up into this awareness that I am gifted. So I had these beautiful friends when I was little. I had these elves and other beings around me that nobody else could see. So I was kind of questioning myself and questioning if there is truth in those beings or not. So I kept playing with them till I was 8, and a big trauma in my life kind of shut me down and closed my gifts. And I actually did not anything else than I did that to myself.
Hmm.
I was really in survival mode and had to deal with the power of my own gifts in a very bad way. Let's say
Okay.
it that way.
So I'm going to just take you back for a moment here, Verena. Now, I know that we introduced you as an indigo child. During the time that you were growing up, was that term, the indigo child, was that already in use, or was that something that was coined later?
As I know, that came up a little bit later, and I actually know some other indigos of that year of birth.
Yes.
And it was not so clear. I guess not for the society that I lived in. So I was
Mm.
really there was no spiritual background in my family. I mean, they were religious but not very active, and so it was kind of
Mm.
not known.
Right, right. And so it must have been quite lonely for you having these abilities and gifts, but having no way of understanding or sharing.
Indeed, because nobody could see what I saw, and yes, lonely is the right word, because I sometimes didn't wanted to play with the human beings. And you separate yourself when you are kind of different and don't see the fun in other children's games when there is something more inspiring for you. So you go with the flow, and my flow was always on another frequency level than the three dimensions, third
Mhm.
dimension.
Was that difficult? Was that very difficult for you having the other two siblings um, that were normal in today's standards? You know, was that difficult growing up? And how did your parents handle that?
It was difficult for me, absolutely. I was kind of the punching ball for them because I was just not acting and reacting in the way that they wanted me to. And it was interesting that my mom had not really an understanding of what was going on. She just thought it is kind of normal that we just not harmonize with each other, and that's okay. So my eldest brother is 9 years older, so he was pretty much out of the game when I grew up. The middle one was more my sparring partner for human battles, so to say. And
Right.
it was never that he could ever understand how I was seeing the world or understanding the world, and also nobody could help and teach me in any way at this time. So it was kind of lonely, and it was kind of a struggle at this times.
I can only imagine having stepped into those shoes myself. I know. And how was school? Because by the time that you're 8, you would have started school by that time as well. How did you find the structures that you had to be, boxed into?
I actually had a really hard time to learn reading because I never had to understand human words. I always understood what the frequency behind the words was. So I really had a rough time to learn reading. I mean, I did at the end. It was just a struggle for me. And
Hmm.
I always could easier handle numbers. So, and school time and all was kind of, I actually always questioned every day why I should be in this box of no freedom and no understanding what the sense of all that is that we should learn. What, yeah, what, and this awareness I came back very much later in my life and changed the whole direction of where my life was going to. School is a box, and you don't learn what you need for life.
There you
It
go.
is.
There you go. And then coming forward, I know that you had mentioned that there was trauma. Are you able to share with the audience this trauma that you had gone through?
Yes, because it was for me a different drama than for the rest of my family. My dad had to deal a couple of years before with bad depression, and he was really feeling not happy at all. But nobody realized than me. I could sense him. I could feel his pain. So it was for me not that big surprise that once he came at night to me to tell me, Verena, I'm going to kill me. And I just said, well, in the middle of the night, I just said, well, then go. Not seeming like not believing that he would do it, but he went to all of us children, and we all got kind of traumatized from that. But he did it, and for me, it was kind of completely crazy in these days because everybody was grieving and everybody was sad, and I was sad too that he wasn't there anymore. And on the other hand, I was super, and that's kind of, you shouldn't say that, but I felt really released because I didn't feel his pain anymore.
So you
I
were a
didn't
big
feel
empath. Yeah.
I was, and I didn't feel what he was going through anymore. The only thing what happened then was that the whole family was grieving, and as an empath and as a psychic, you take on the energies, especially if you never learn to not do that. And that's
Yes.
why I'm so passionate about to teach people how they can save their space and
Yes.
be in their own energy. And yeah, this is really born in this moment. And I took all their pain in me, and all the grief and all the heaviness of their emotions and belief systems they had about dying, because I actually could not even see my dad not there because he was available for me. But through that big pain that I took into my body, I was 30 days after he dies, I was in hospital with an autoimmune disease that built up a lot of tumors in the bones of my body, and yeah, also on the brain. Had it was really on the bones, eating my own bones. It's like
And
I was creating a disease that
and
ate
that was at
myself.
age 8. That what happened at age 8. Now,
Yes.
I'm thinking into the mind of an 8-year-old. Did you realize that you were creating this in your body?
At this time, I wasn't aware of it, but my higher self, my beingness, because I used my own powers against myself somehow. So I subconsciously closed my gifts down. I really just shut them off. I was
Why
in
is that?
hospital.
Why? Why would you do that? Because I'm thinking you're an
I
empath, your father's now crossed over, you're no longer having to carry his, weight, and but something triggered you to create
I
this for yourself?
I see that I was kind of getting dangerous for myself. The powers that I used, the not, building up powers, the taking away powers in these days, I was just not I was not feeling his pain, but I was also not feeling happy because I was in a surrounding where people were always crying and everybody was like heavy, and the heaviness didn't stop at this time. And also I was in hospital for 3 months, what was kind of a better place to be. But on the other hand, I was the only one of 5 children that left that hospital. So also there was no fun for me.
Right.
And it was, I really, as I analyzed it afterwards, I had a time in between when I could go back and watch it as an adult, what happened. And for me was pretty clear that there was nobody else shutting down my higher senses. There was just me shutting me down. I didn't want to have all these awareness anymore. I didn't want to feel anybody's shit. I didn't want to hear anybody's thoughts and emotions, and I didn't want to have that anymore. So
Because you
that's
felt that you were burdened with all of this and you didn't know what to do with it. Now, as a child, and I'm just going back to my own situations, as a child, you would reach out to somebody that you felt close to say, I don't feel so good, or, why does this happen? And it could be some of the gifts that you speak to them about. You had no desire, or at this point, you already knew that I shouldn't be speaking about these things.
the point is, I the main gift that I have is knowing. I'm very clear cognizant, so I see, I feel, but basically I know. And I just knew that there was nobody able to handle what I would tell them. So I just had no, and it was, as I said, it was not a conscious decision. It was really subconscious. And also this is part of why I am so passionate about learning people how to deal with their own gifts and not see them as a burden, because it's really up to how you can handle them if they are a burden or if they are a gift. They can be really both.
Right, right. So you created all of this within your body because you were not able to embrace the gifts in a way that people could understand, and you can live a very conscious, happy, healthy life. So now you're in the hospital, you've got issues that are, you know, in your bones. You also had something, I'm sorry, I missed that, but you had some growth on inside your head as well.
It was just on the bones, so it was also on this head bones. Here I have a plate, like a flat part of my brain. It's not what it was not in the brain. It was on the bones of my scalp.
I see. Okay. So eventually you come out of hospital. Dad is no longer there. You did not take on the fact that he came to you and that you said, okay, if that's what you need to do, then that's what you need to do. You didn't take that guilt on in any which way
I
because you had a
didn't.
knowing.
I didn't consciously take it on. I mean, there was kind of a guilt as an adult when I looked back. So I created guilt in that normal human state. I created guilt out of what happened. But before, there was nothing like that. And maybe that was also my reason. I can't really actually say what it was, but I really wanted to be kind of normal, and I wanted to fit in. I wanted to understand what all the other people are going through here. And I simply couldn't, and I just had to deal with it on a level where nobody could help me with that. So yeah,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I was.
Wow. Well, I definitely could relate, and I'm sure a lot of empaths out there and gifted individuals can also relate to your story. Now, moving forward, so you're eight, you're back, you're now healed and or healing, and you're healthy. Um, Continuing on the journey, did you then return back to school and life at home was somewhat better?
I was going back to school for half a year, and then I had to go on a they wanted me to go into a place in the mountains to heal my lungs from all these treatments because they put a lot of chemistry into my body. So I left hospital, went home for half a year, and then I was in the mountains for half a year going to school there. And that was kind of more fun because it was just nobody was there grieving, nobody knew me, and I was just a normal human child for the first time in my life, I guess. And that was kind of healing for me. Also, I was
Nice.
away from my mom and all that. It was also, yeah, I missed home, but I was also happy there. So it was a good place to be for me.
Very nice. Very nice. And so then you continued on and you went on to become a teacher and
Yeah,
because you enjoyed math and
I understood numbers like every nothing else. Yeah, I studied mathematics after I made Matura. I don't know how it's in A levels. I guess you do
well,
in
we in
Great
the
Britain.
West have a different system than
Yes,
Europe.
you we all
So,
have. So yeah, so I made the school, and I went to university, and I studied mathematics, and started teaching in 2003. And also there, during my studies, I already started doing any kind of healing work because my hands were always magical. And I started doing massage therapy for just my mom. And she said, "You know what? Go and make your own money in these days when you study." And I did this whole education as a massage therapist during my studies when, yeah, nobody had the chance to make easy money. I was just doing it.
Nice.
And I
Nice.
had a good side job and good time to study. And then I, yeah, started teaching at school. I did that for 6 years, mathematics and technical handicrafts. I always wanted to do something with the children, so it's kind of um, physics in like physics in action. So yeah, we had a lot of fun at school, and I started also free groups at school to teach the children how to learn easier and faster. And also these days were when I started to study NLP to be better on service for them and to understand how to deal with groups better and to lead the person into the awareness that she needs and to catch them where they are. It's NLP is very helpful for that, and it also gives you a nice understanding of the world, and that not everybody sees the world in the same way. And
Right.
also I studied Suggestopedia in these days because it's a nice teaching tool to reach the subconscious and not to infiltrate everything into their brain, but into their field and into their subconscious, that it can come from there into their mind.
And so
So
was that more like a hypnotherapy?
no,
No?
it's you have music, so it's very much with the tacting of the music. It's slow, it's classical music, and you bring them into um, it's not hypnosis, but you have the wording always. It's always 4 words in a line, and you speak them very very sing, si- I don't know how to say that in English, but
Rhythmically?
rhythmically. Thank you for the word. Yeah, and with the music and with it's always a story that you tell them. You put everything into a story. So then it's not mathematics. Then it's like little animals talking with each other. You have to be creative, and that was kind of easy for me. So yeah, that
Very
was.
nice. And then you met the love of your life and
I met the love of my life when I was, and I actually not sure if he's the love of my life, but the love that was just perfect for these next years. So he is the father of my 3 children, and I met him actually when I was 19, and shall we say that he was 50?
so he's younger.
Yes, he's younger. So we knew each
Robbed the
other a little
cradle.
bit. Yes.
Okay.
Nothing happened, but a couple of years later, when I was 26, we met again, and yeah, came together pretty fast. When I was 27, I was, yeah, getting my first child. So yeah, we
There you
didn't
go.
have a long time, but it was kind of meant to be.
Okay. Okay. So now you have 3 children
Yes.
and you have 2 boys and a girl.
2 girls and a boy,
Okay.
and just the middle one is planned. So the first
Okay.
one was a surprise, and the last one too. So they're pretty close together, 3.5 years from the first birth to the last birth. So yeah,
So 2 gifts and a planned.
yes.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. So this is great. Now you have 3 children. Are any one of the children gifted like you?
I see the middle one is totally gifted with her heart frequencies that she's sharing, and she's also empathic. So I have to help her with that. And the youngest one, he's definitely able to see. So he was the one waking me up in the middle of the night. Mama, there is a man standing next to me. And I said, yeah, we just sent him away. And he just saw ghosts, right? So it was
Nice.
sometimes a little bit intense these days. Now he's just aware that he can deal with them and how to
himself.
deal with them. Yeah, he
And then,
can totally
and
do that.
how are you able to communicate to the children that these particular gifts are not the the average person, or in today's you
Thank you
know
for that advice. I should do that. I never taught them that not everybody can see that thing, those things. Yeah, maybe I should
just,
tell them.
yeah, just speaking from our own experiences, if we let them know in advance, then they know when that happens, that that is expected.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
okay, so that being said, so now we're gonna dive into another area of your life, which is that you heal healers and you teach teachers. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, I started my own business. Actually, I started 2 years ago, almost 2 years, November 2018. And I just started doing it for free, to find out who are the people that profit the most from my gifts. So I just started to do it, and I found out pretty soon that healers and teachers that have to, or coaches are also a kind of teacher, that they are the people that profit the most from my gifts, and that they are the ones that I could bring to the place where they can perform way better, and that they have more clarity about their own gifts and how to use them, because that's what I'm kind of very gifted with, to see how you use your energy and to give you like a guidance how to make it easier for yourself and how to make it more efficient. Efficient is my favorite word.
Okay.
Efficiency is, it's like what I'm passionate about, and what I really feel that when I'm having like these sessions, I just do mostly one-on-ones, and I started doing courses too, but these one-on-ones, when I have the chance to get those people into my hands and help them to form themselves, it's not that I do it for them, but I give them the awareness that they need to shift and change, and it's to adjust, and also if it's just the ankle, where to come from. It's really an interesting way of teaching them and upgrading them into being better on service and easier in their work and in their flow. So that's what I love.
Yes, yes. And I know that currently a lot of healers out there, they are so passionate about healing, and the teachers are so passionate about teaching. And what happens is that everyone is out there doing the healings, but as healers, they do need healing themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
And what a fine time to bring your work forward. And as well as, I've as you know, I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher as well, and I've got a lot of different healing modalities under my belt. And what I found is that we have come to a point where now, being in the new world, being in the time frame that we're in, the teachers that were taught with the old way of understanding need to shift. And so now the teachers that are out there need to upgrade and be teaching with higher frequencies and a new understanding that, I think a lot of people are still, Verena, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people are still stuck in taking, the 1 + 1 = 2 and the 2 + 2 equals, but we're in a completely different shift here. And because of that shift that's taken place, it's people like yourself that, that are the major amplifiers that are going to be really needed to come forward and to be of service, because We can have, 2 million healers and teachers out there. But if those 2 million healers and teachers have not had their upgrades and don't know how to navigate the new systems that are in place, I'm not saying they're coming to place, they're in place right now. Do you mind sharing some of that understanding? Because I know you and I have these beautiful conversations and understandings, but it's a different time frame altogether here.
Um, I shouldn't say all the time. I know.
It's all good.
You know, these days are way easier and way faster to shift energy than it was. So old modalities that were also actually working pretty well have now the chance to upgrade and go even faster and easier. Right now we are so supported by a lot of beings. We are so held in our frequencies of evolution and awakening that all whatever intention we set to upgrade, it's just happening easy and fast. So we have to adjust to that ease. It's not that we have to adjust into anything more complicated. Basically, what I wanted to say in the beginning, that's easy to answer. We have to learn to be. We have to learn to be more than to do. We have to just understand that it's not about anything outside of us. It's really about the frequencies that we have and that we hold in us, and that all what you need is, that's an old story. It is already in your being, but how to access it and how to easy access it, that's the key. And there are so there are, I don't want to say that there are no modalities out there to do this, but there are also old modalities that are more in your, that take a little bit more of your time. Let's say it that way. Some people like it slow. That's okay too. It's the time now to shift fast. It's really the time. It's so much going on in these frequencies on this planet that are shifting every day for us, and so much frequencies coming into this and into our system, into this planetary system, that it's just so fascinating that just have the awareness of things going on in your life and you can easily manifest and shift out of them.
And that goes back to being a co-creator, because you have been limited with the information that was ever given to you, that you have to live within these parameters and you have to work hard to make a living and you have to do this and that and that and this. And in reality, the truth has come forward, and it has come forward so quickly. And now it's a matter of having the knowledge and the understanding and the acceptance of, you are a co-creator. What is it that you're doing today? What is it? Are you living from that place of the heart? And so it's such a beautiful time to live, when you have individuals that are very connected to the old, to the past, to the density of of our being, that they choose that very familiar, very comfortable space rather than shifting and moving. And what a beautiful time to be living, that we have individuals like you, Verena, that can share your gifts. And I do believe that each and every one of us has these gifts, innate abilities to bring wholeness and oneness to this planet. How do you foresee this, Verena, moving forward?
I honestly see it that way, that each and every one that is now on this planet is really wisely set, like you play chess or something. They are all here to do their moves. And some are here just to be in the frequency and embody it here on earth. Some are here to do some actions, some are here to assist, some are here. So everybody has his own purpose and way to take action for the good in life and for the good of humanity. It's not that I say you always have to be on service for others. I really say, please be first on service, like in yourself, for yourself. And from that self love, I want people to act. It doesn't help anybody if you're a healer that gives and gives and gives and gives everything, but don't ever give to yourself. This is not healthy. So really, the key and the start with all the work that everybody can do is within you. Love yourself, and there you really start loving, and the rest of the world will profit from that love. So if it's just this little piece, and it's a huge thing, who is really truly honestly loving himself. Also, if they say, I like myself, yeah, but come on, say it. Love yourself. It's really that frequency. And with that frequency, I so much have to clear that frequency for the people, because they don't even know what love is. So
Yes,
yes, in
yes,
these days it's really cool to upgrade people. It's fast, it's easy for those who choose to step forward and say, I want to step out of the old version of myself. I want to create a new me, and that's absolutely possible in the now. And it's absolutely on service for the rest of the world. So you do something for yourself, and you do a big shift for the rest of the humanity. So I
that's
absolutely
beautiful.
appreciate that.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much for that, Verena. You know, I could speak to you for hours on end. And, we're coming to the close of our show here today. And I just want to put this out there that, Verena, if someone wanted to get a hold of you, if they wanted to do any work, where can they get a hold of you? And do you have an offering for our audience?
So I have a couple of offers. You can always reach out to me and do one-on-one with me. You can find that on my website. You can. What I prefer here is to do 3 sessions for people, because you have your whole life to mess up with it. So give me just 3 sessions to help you fix it. Um, I also train people one-on-one still. One time in a year, I do a course of 12 sessions, 12 lessons to learn. Right now, I'm offering that in one-on-one sessions, so you can buy my package of trainings on my website, or you just contact me personally. And the happiest thing I have to offer, because I'm in always in a way dictated what to do. My infinite self is telling me, and I learned to follow. So I'm starting at the 20th of June. uh, on 4 Sundays, I will offer a clearing and healing transformation group of frequencies that are in your way of your personal freedom in any layers of your being. So this will take place on the 20th of June. So if you want to join, it's also available on my website, and it's a payment of 2 times €145. And if you want to pay in full, you can do that too. Um, yeah, it will happen on Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's 2 p.m. East Coast time, and it's 7 p.m. London and 8 p.m. my time. So if you
And
want
your
to join,
website? your
Oh
website?
yes, my website is www.verenakoerber.com. So it's basically my name.
Okay, so I just want to reiterate and clarify one thing, Verena. You said that it starts on the 20th of June, and the 20th of June is the cutoff to register because 20th of June is a Saturday. So the course actually begins on the 21st. It's 145
Oh yeah,
euros,
thank you.
2 payments of 145 euros. It's 4 Sundays of your life to actually increase your frequency, catapult you into the freedom state that you need to be in. And that is a huge offering because I have worked with Verena and I can totally vouch for her. She's just an amazing, amazing worker. And I know that she schedules you for 11 o'clock, and she'll say 1 hour, but it easily goes into well beyond that 1 hour. So if you want to have a small taste of Verena's work, I would highly, highly recommend that. I will have her website posted on the podcast and also on my website just below her YouTube video. So definitely tune in for that. We will have Verena back on the show because she's just an amazing, amazing, amazing teacher, friend, and light worker. Thank you so much on behalf of the audience, Verena. It's been a pleasure. I'm Cylindrin Buller, the host of Uplifting Humans, where we honor, empower, educate, and inspire the listener with real stories and expert advice. Until next time, have a wonderful, wonderful day.